Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy Derwin, and I'm here with Shane Brule, and we have a special guest, Spice. He was on our channel previously, and so if you want to hear more about his story, he was in Lahaina on August 8th. I'll link that video at the end screen and in the description so you can hear his story and how he escaped and what he saw that day. But today he's going to be discussing the spiritual side of the battle between light and dark that we're seeing today in all of these horrible disasters. And so I wanted him to come on so he could explain these things because this is new to me. And so I will let Spice explain what he does and the knowledge he has and the information he's going to share with us. So thank you, Spice, for taking the time to be with us today. So what is it? I know you do a lot of things, but share with our audience the work you do.
So yeah, that's a broad kind of topic with multiple modalities of healing work, from body work to being psychic and intuitive, as well as empathic, which I feel everyone is. And for people who don't quite understand the difference, being psychic is to see, and then empathic is to feel. And so people would come to me. I also work with plant medicines to help others, and I've worked with over 11,000 plants. So basically what I do is it's almost like going in someone's body and coming out and then wearing that energy so that I understand beyond the medical field and, the technology they have, that it lets me know what's really going on. And then I'll put herbal programs together and things of that nature. I read charts. It may sound kind of crazy, but it's actually like what everyone's going to learn today. I'm not book read on this. This comes from working on thousands of people. And I know it sounds odd, but I have a gift where I used to get flown all over and tour, and I blow on your forehead and you go into visions. And what that's doing is clearing thought. And thought comes into our body in two forms, positive or negative. All right. And so you have to look at the body like the spine is an antenna, and we don't think from our mind. Science made us look as though we think from our brain. Your brain's your motor. You actually think from your entire body. So let's say I'm paddling out and surfing big waves and one's about to break in front of me. Where are my butterflies? They're not here. They're in my stomach. When you get, heartache, where's it at? It's in your heart, and you can feel that heart clench and the sadness and stuff. So we're actually think from my body, or from your whole body. So when I would do this work on people, it was amazing. People would come in and, be just like blah, and they'd float out the door looking bright and shining and sparkly. It's almost like when you pop a soda and you've got little fizzies on top. They would just float out the door. And I got kind of burned out on it because you would take on energy and then I'd have to release it. And so it's like, why do these wonderful things when you kind of suffer? And so I took a long break from it, but that's kind of in a nutshell. And this will allow me to let everyone, watching, to know how amazing you are and beautiful you are, and incredible in how we actually work and function, and giving a deeper understanding of energy, which allows us to go deeper into the topic for today, which is the battle of light and dark. Basically, what does that mean? A lot of people know, but there's so much more to it to give understanding of why this is happening. And so that is my goal today. But first, stoked to see you guys. Thanks again for having me. And thank you. And thanks for all that you do and everything that you're bringing to light. And we've got other people. We've got a wonderful Hawaiian here. Her name's Jenny. She's, Connect the Dots with Jenny. And there's some others. And I was talking with someone the other day, and her name came up, Jenny. And, she's on the same side as me with Jenny. Jenny's awesome. But she knows the opposite side, and they're kind of like, oh, she's kind of fixated on things, and basically in a negative manner. And it's like, no, she's not fixated, and she's not picking on anyone. She's just like all of us, that, especially those that are tuned into your show, and majority of mankind, we just want peace and a tranquil, happy little life. And others have flip that into kind of the negativity they've taken on to, which we'll go over today, and kind of pull that rug out from under a lot of us, you know. But you still have to have the mindset and make everyday magic and make the most of it, you know. And so, but I do want to thank the Hawaiians, because after the fire, I mean, literally before the sun came up, they were beached and bringing in supplies for our people. And we still have today a hub that they're feeding us as fire victims, which is incredible 2 years later. So lots of love to the Hawaiians. It means a lot to me and to a lot of us that went through some very traumatic things at what happened. And everybody who has donated, whether it was to me or, you know, everyone you didn't know, and to all these other worldly events, and you're doing, like, we love you and thank you for all that you've done. And, you know, on that note, those that have gone through like the LA fires, I actually met someone yesterday that was from Kentucky, and they're in a FEMA housing, and they said it's just a mess. Like, everything's upside down over there. And so my love to any of you watching, that if you have gone through these fires and tornadoes and floods and anything chaotic, and you're here to talk about it and speak, there's things that I recommend that you do. Like, luckily, I think I would be in a really bad place, messed up, because of my work. I knew what I needed and I knew what to do. But real quick, I'm just going to suggest, I think camping under big trees, it helps pull the energy out of you. Take your time. You should be cleansing. A lot of people here are drinking and, you know, just trying to flush it down and bury it. And they're still pretty messed up with the experience of the fire. I also recommend, like, feeding your soul. Feeding your soul is doing things that's you, whether it's like surfing, I don't care if it's ballet, if it's, you know, riding bicycles, like whatever helps you remember yourself and who you are, and bring yourself back to light, you know. And a cool little thing that I use, that I love. Have you guys seen those digital picture frames? You know what I'm talking about? I have photos. Well, I lost photo albums from traveling the world, but, you know, photos from your phone, your social media, put those on there. And to me, it was a really wonderful healing tool, because it showed me my life of things that I've done. And it gives me hope that I'm going to be doing that again. And so I really think that's something that is important for all those who have gone through things. It's just one little step for healing and moving forward with yourself. And so there's my love in a nutshell with that. But so today, everyone, Tracy's asked me to explain the battle of light and dark. And first of all, to understand the battle of light and dark and what that means, there's two things that we have to understand. And those two things are energy and ourselves. Okay, so we're going to start with the planets. All right, and understanding planets because of energy. All right, and this isn't some hippie stuff, or, you know, like, hey man, what's your sign? It's really giving you a deeper understanding of energy is the goal and objective here. And so let's take right here, it's a body, that's the universe, and you've got all these planets inside. All right, and then in the middle, let's just say we have Earth, and that's where we're standing. And you've got all these planets moving around. So you've got all these planets that are basically like a person. All right. They have their own character, their own personality. And we've all heard retrograde, and everyone wants to yell, you know, Mercury retrograde and things of that nature. What does that really mean? It's almost as, look at it like it's not getting full sun anymore. It's behind and getting blocked. So what does it do? It drops in personality. It drops to a lower vibratory behavior pattern. So right now, if you guys are smiling and happy and everything's good, and you know, you're sharing and caring and all these different positive attribute personalities, then now it's like lower vibratory, where worry or theft or all these different, you know, just negative behavior patterns. And so we'll start with what's been going on, and maybe hopefully people can kind of feel that out and recognize. So Pluto, the planet, and everyone's like, oh, it's so far away. But I'm like, you know, if you look at a planet and stand on it, like you're so small in there, and it's big. So Pluto's the god of the underworld. And as it goes retrograde, things to expect: transition And the perfect thing, as it started to go, Shane's aware, at the shadow point, as it's going in, and it's the god of the underworld. Imagine Pluto, okay, as this ball of light, and there's a bucket of black. As it comes in and hits the bucket, it bounces all this darkness out. So all this chaos comes out, and then it bounces and pulls more with it. So it's almost like all these planetary retrogrades are a cleansing cycle for us. So when Pluto was going retrograde, guess what a major event was happening? The Diddy case. All right. So it's going to be really interesting on its way out, because the Diddy case isn't over. There's still more to go with everyone's favorite police chief, and so that's going to be interesting to see where that goes. And so also, Pluto is a major player and effective in transition. Transition is like moving homes, moving state, next life. We've had a lot of deaths. I know that it happens all the time, but like we just lost Ozzy. We just had an officer shot, church shooting. That's kind of more the lower vibratory perspective of what Pluto brings. We had a school shooting, and just all these gnarly things that happen. And that's the darkness of the underworld of what Pluto's energy brings to us. Okay. Imagine, like I said, this ring, and you've got 9 rocks. Okay. And we throw them in the water, and then they make rings, and those rings are colliding. And that's what's happening to us every day, is we're getting collided, and that's how we're affected. And the more negativity that you have inside, the more it goes in and stirs it up and brings it to the surface. All right. And then when you have, 2, 3, 4 planets in retrograde, let's say now Mercury goes retrograde, you also have to look at the sign that it's in. So Gemini, Capricorn, Virgo, all the Leo, all the different signs, that's a personality, that's an energy. So that's a combination, right? I call all of you is God's cocktail. All right. We're all little this, little that, little that, little this. And then that's the energy that you become. All right. And so when those rings collide, there's certain what's called aspects and angles where they get along, and there's other ones where they fight. And there's just different attributes of it, different aspects and angles. All right. And so that's understanding energy. You have Saturn. Shane, you can vouch for Saturn. Saturn is what I call the wall. All right. You're trying to do this. You're working hard. All these things are happening. It's the taskmaster is what Saturn kind of revolves around. And then all of a sudden, when it goes retrograde, all these things you're trying to do, it's like a wall here. You move over here, another wall. Nothing's allowing you. Right. And that's what Saturn does. And we've actually tried to connect for a show. Didn't happen. Tracy and Shane are aware I'm trying to get this little kitty that I found, that I rescued. And it's just been like over a month of just all these things that have just been hair pulling to try and get this little kitty over here. And then we have Neptune is in retrograde as well right now. Okay. Neptune is, I call the spiritual planet. As it goes retrograde, what I do notice is the sunsets are incredible when the energy that it brings. But the big topic that Neptune, as it goes retrograde, is we start thinking and expressing of what we feel it should be, whether the subject of politics or how we should live. Should we live in like these nice huts and vegetable gardens and fruit, or make mansions and like just destroy everything, and we start saying how it's supposed to be, as I was saying with how we should be living. And then politics, like, we start going into like, why are we living this way? And why are they like, basically, majority of us are like, they're taking our money, running off with our money, spending, and we'll go into that and how we should be living. And the topic of religion comes up, all those things of how we should be, because it's the spiritual planet. So that's its retrograde. But, real quick, you got Mercury, that's the mind. So when it goes retrograde, things can get a little berserk, and they have a window of, let's say you've got the wall, and as it's going behind the wall, you've got for Mercury like 7 to 10 days, and then it comes out. And as it comes out, it's pulling energy out. You have Venus. Venus is the heart. Uranus, kind of chaos. And you got to look at the planets when they spin. You have a positive side and a negative side, just like us. And so think of it, they're like giant magnets in the sky. And they're constantly like getting along and pushing and pulling and pushing. And to me, that's like when we get earthquakes, when a lot of retrogrades happen and stuff like that. And so that those energies, you know, like I said, they're combining. And so all these are constantly in movement with energy. And you've also got the biggest one that everyone can comprehend and relate to is the moon. The moon is emotions. Okay. Think of the term lunatic, lunar. Okay. So that's the moon. So that's an energy. And so as it's going into full moon, you can feel it, guys, like as it starts to surface, and depending on the sign that it's going to go into, if it's going to go into Scorpio, it'll get super intense, and then it comes out, and it's like the pressure valve as it comes out of full waxing, which is a full moon, and starts going waning, which is a new moon. You can feel that. It's all energy, and people need to realize like what that is compared to like holding on to something tangible. Everything I'm speaking on right now, which I'll be speaking on yourselves too, is non-tangible. It's energy. You can't hold it. You have to feel it, you know. But look at like waves from a swell. Okay, we say in Hawaii that waves, every wave tells a story, and that when it hits the ocean, it still keeps going, even though you can't see it. That energy is coming through. And I can tell you, when we don't have surf, everyone gets a little agitated, and all of a sudden when the waves come, it's like a cleansing cycle. It's energy. It flushes, because you have to realize in Hawaii, we have a lot of tourists coming in, and what are they doing? They've got these chaotic lives in the mainland. They're like, you know, slamming a donut and coffee, running to work, coming back, drinking all weekend, party, and then they come here and they just dump all this stuff, all their energy on us that we have here on the island. And so we get all bundled up, and then when we have waves comes and storms and stuff like that, and washes it away. So it's just energy's constantly moving. So I hope everyone kind of understands that with planets.
You know, something that I learned that I've not been aware of is the moon. Not only does it do, you know, control the tides, but, you know, women's moon cycle, you actually reproduce without the moon, without that, whatever the moon does to the earth.
Yes, because of the pulling factor. So when people come to me in like certain diseases, if they've got like an STD or cancer, I work with them at a certain time, because you have to look at the human body the same as the earth. Okay, so the skin is your soil. We've got hair. This is trees and bushes. Your veins is rivers. Your ocean is your stomach, right? And then so you've got earth. Air is the wind that you breathe. Like I have tattooing from my grandfather's markings, and everyone's like, oh, it's the moon. It's like, no, it's not. It's the seasons. And fall into winter is the breath in. Spring into summer is the breath out. Right. And so then you've got light, and most people think like fire. So earth, air, fire, water. All right. That's our elements. That's what the earth is composed of. That's what we're composed of. And most people think fire is like your energy, like getting up and going jogging and stuff. It's not. It's actually my work that I was speaking on, where I'd blow in your forehead, and that brings light into someone to remove the negativity is what it does. And so fire is actually light. The earth doesn't spin without what? Without light, without the sun. It needs that. It's almost like a basketball player where you see them spin on their finger. That's what it does, and creates the rotation, because it creates energy and mana. It creates spiritual life energy. And so with water and the moon, as you're speaking, full moon, it brings it to the surface. So that's what you're talking about, cycles. And so when I work with a disease, someone has specific diseases, it's better to go like into a kind of waning moon, which is going towards a new moon, to take the herbs deeper, because we have tides in our body that match the tides in the ocean, that match the tides in lakes. And so it's really important working with the moon sometimes. And the Hawaiians and the Native Americans, they all planted by the moon, because they knew that certain vegetables and things they were growing like functioned in their growth cycle better with how they planted with the moon, which is incredible. That just shows like kind of where we need to go, instead of just like mass production, just get it in the ground and all that. Is to have a harmonious cycle from farming. I grew up farming, and so I know, you know, all that stuff. And so, yeah. Now, does that answer your question with like the planets? You understand them deeper now?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Makes sense. And I was going to add, Egypt also had a lunar calendar as well.
Oh, I believe it. Probably also, I mean, the Mayan calendar as well is incredible. And they had it such down to a science to like years and what was going to happen during years and also ages. Okay, so let's understand energy even deeper. The ages. We just went from the age of Capricorn, which Capricorn is leadership. And unfortunately, a lot of the leadership, it's no news to anyone, was kind of polluted, right? But now we've gone into that, crazy song, it's the age of Aquarius. We're moving into the Aquarian age. So what is the energy of an Aquarian? All right. Aquarian is humanity, okay? Innovation, basically starlight. And so I'm seeing, and you guys are seeing, and what you guys are putting out for us, it's this battle of light and dark. It's a battle of what I would say polluted leadership, where humanity's starting to take place. And we've also got recycling. That's came about not long ago, right? And consciousness towards our oceans and our existence. And so basically Aquarian is just all about humanity. Okay. And so that's where we're pushing. And I think that this leadership is going to go catering more towards what it should, which is the betterment of mankind, which is humanity not only serving themselves better, but serving the planet better and being stewards of the land and the ocean and taking care of it. So it's an energy. So like, I guess to make it understandable even more deeper with the planetary stuff and energy is, let's take Mercury. Mercury's the mind. Okay. So if you've got someone who has Aries, Aries is the ram, and there's an expression in astrology, and if the who read it, is an Aries is, it can be like, I had a landlord, he had 4 signs in Aries, and the guy could just talk a hole in the wall, just brrr. And so if you've got Aries and Mercury, that's going to be someone in their mind. They're always going to be friendly and fun, but they're just going to be just going. That mind is going. That mouth is going. It's going. It's like it's instead of the chicken with the head cut off, it's the head with the chicken cut off. The chicken's done. The head's still running around. Okay. Now let's take someone with Taurus. Taurus is the lowest vibrating sign of all these astrological signs, and that doesn't mean like it's bad. It's just energy. It's a lower, heavier weighted sign. Of all the earth signs, you got Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. So Taurus, as it's in Mercury. So if I were to ask someone a question who is Aries in Mercury, they're already going to have the answer before I even ask the question. Taurus, if it's in Mercury, the mind is slower. And it doesn't mean they're dumb. It doesn't mean they're stupid. It's just slower. And they basically, it comes out slower. And Taurus is a beautiful sign, one of the most beautiful to me. Like they're in their heart space, and they basically just want justice for love for everybody. They're like the big teddy bear. And so it's a great sign. It's materialism. During the time when the pyramids were built, that's when we were in the age of Taurus. So Taurus is materialism. And so that's when those structures and a lot of the structures around the earth were built, so really it's understanding each sign has a personality. Okay. Like I'm Capricorn. I'm as earth as it gets. I can sleep in a cave. I'm super happy. And then your positive sign is you're a kid. And when I say a kid, it's not like a child. You've seen a little baby goat, how they just jump around bucking. That's a kid, is the name of a baby goat, right? And so when we're in our positive, we're the kid. When we are in our negative, we can be super pessimistic. And so every sign has a positive and a negative behavior pattern. Okay. And it's just energy, and it's who you are. And it's your energetic chemistry of where everything was in the heavens when you were born, which to me is incredible. That's why I said we're all God's cocktail. Okay. And all the signs, like I said, Gemini, every single one it's basically energy. Okay. And same with the planets. So now, does that make more sense with the planetary? Because if I can get you guys on board with understanding, then we can take the next step.
Yeah.
So you're good, Tracy? Is that sinking in?
No, I'm on board with the planetary. I studied megalithic structures, and every single one is aligned to the cosmos. Yeah. I just don't, know the specifics, but I know they had great knowledge of this, and that kind of seems to have been lost.
Yeah, and not only that, but they had, they didn't have Pop-Tarts and Bud Light. They were literally like living from the earth. They lived in a higher vibratory life. And what's interesting to me is every single civilization, every type of, from natives to like Romans to the Greece, they all had what? They all had demigods. And so that means for them to be able to see and experience that and know that, they had to have been at a higher vibratory level. And so obviously the quality foods that they were eating and just the natural life that they had compared to today. Yeah. We have so much synthetics in our foods, our skies, our water, which is clogging all of our intuitive abilities. Mm-hmm. A lot of people can say it's hokey pokey, but it's not. It's something that, like everyone has, like on the subject of energy, you've heard that guy is shady. Okay. And that has validity towards it, where if a guy's taking on too much negativity, they can be kind of shady. It's like if you don't go down a dark alley because you just listen to your stomach saying, "Woo, that doesn't feel right. I don't think I need to go down there. It might be risky," right? So the one, that shows everyone's empathic. Two, what are you doing? You're reading the energy of that. Yeah. And so everything is energy, and getting on board with the planets, and now we have to understand ourselves. So we have, and they're called chakras, okay? And in Sanskrit, which is India, and I've actually seen Native American dolls where they have them like carved into the dolls or sewn into the dolls. And what they are is spiritual centers of our spirit body, okay? And so you've got your energetic chemistry from the planets when you've got like, Gemini and Mercury, Scorpio and Mars, so on and so on and so on. Then you have your chakras, okay? Books will say that the chakras, you have 7, and that they're the colors of the rainbow. And when I did spiritual work, I would take people into their spiritual body, and they can and help them release everything and cleanse them. It was amazing. And just they'd be glowing afterwards. And so instead of colors of the rainbow, you could be like, Shane could be like silver, white, yellow, green, red. And then Tracy could be blue. And that blue could be royal blue, light blue, orange. And you could have like one of the spiritual centers as green and yellow, like half. And so all of that is energy, and that makes up you in combination with your planetary energy, your astrology chart. So you've got 2 methods of energy, all right, that make up who you are. It makes you magical, it makes you special, makes you like basically function and act the way that you do. And so what happens is, where we're getting to is understanding the battle of light and dark and things of that nature. What these spiritual centers do is they're like thought. How I mentioned, if I'm paddling out and a wave comes in and it's about to land in front of me, my butterflies aren't here, they're in my stomach. When I get sad, it goes here. So when I'm sad, everyone's been sad before. Is that positive or negative?
Negative.
Okay, it's negative. When I got butterflies, what is that? That's anxiety and worry. Is that positive or negative?
Negative.
Okay, so as these accumulate through negativity, somehow it sticks to us. When it sticks to us and we don't do spiritual exercises to cleanse and release this, it starts adding up. As it adds up, those beautiful colors of those spiritual centers start getting clogged. If it's like right here, if this is my heart, here's my throat, here's my third eye, forehead region, and you've got your crown, you've got above your pico, your belly button, and you've got below, and then you've got your first, they call it your first chakra, your lower one. As they get clogged over time, it creates combinations. Instead of you being your higher vibratory self, your positive personalities, you start dropping in vibration. And then you start to act and behave at that level. So you could be this vibrant, beautiful person when you're free and clear of this negativity. But then as this negativity accumulates, then you start to drop and think and act in that manner. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I know it's a lot, but I've got to try and paint pictures for everybody. And this is my work. I've proven time and time again. It's unfortunate that I had file cabinets full of all this work and what everyone went through and the visions that they went through, and then all their spiritual body, like all the colors that they had, and it's all poof gone in the fire, you know. And so that would have been an amazing book to share with everybody, which was actually happening, and that went too. And so now understanding the planets and then our spiritual body, we also have what we put in our body. Okay. And it's really, really simple. The whole thing of today is you either raise your vibration or you lower your vibration. So super simple. What raises your vibration? Positive thought, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, herbal medicines, grounding. How does grounding happen? Grounding is like being out in nature a lot, and it pulls negativity from you. And so then you have things that lower your vibration. Okay, what lowers your vibration? And then we'll go into what happens when you lower your vibration. So things that lower your vibration: tobacco, alcohol, processed sugars like sodas, things of that nature, candies, pharmaceuticals, hard drugs just in general. And I'm sorry, everyone, smoking weed, coffee. And so what those do is they either put a negative kind of field over you and lower your vibration, and or let's take coffee, for example. Coffee, it does three different things to you. Negative is excites the nervous system. So what does that do? It robs your nerves, and so that prematurely ages you. And so it also makes you acidic. So you could have the best diet in the world. You're not breaking your foods down to receive the full amount of what you should be getting nutritive wise. And then it creates that anxietal energy. And so there's three different things of what it does. And as you drop in vibration, okay, the best way to educate you is what happens is a negativity of weight and pressure start to weigh on you, so that your body and you have to work harder to function. All right. So imagine, like, I'm a spearfisher. Okay. So when I'm diving, and if I'm 60 feet underwater, I have 60 feet of water crushing me. So look at it like this. If you're at the top up here in the V, you're more in your light, where you're vibrating high, you're positive, you're doing all these awesome things, and you're telling everybody you love them, and you're sharing and you're caring and all these things. As you start to getting robbed, you start getting the negativity that's weighing you down and robbing and depleting you. And the more that you start taking on negativity, the more the body goes into what I call survival mode. Like if somebody puts their hands around your neck, what are you going to do? You're going to fight to survive. So the body will go into that mode and start stripping more and more to function and exist, because it's not getting the nutrition, because you're doing these substances that are robbing you. So the body's got to get it from somewhere to try and function. And so that adds up over time. And as that adds up, what is the cause and effect? That's dis-ease. All right. And so that's such a huge, broad topic of where that can go with negativity. That can go into thoughts, negative thoughts, making you behave and act and do certain things like that. Take, for instance, a mass murderer. Basically, politicians and officials that are corrupt. Why is that? Because they've taken on negativity, they open themselves up, and so they think and act and do at that level, right? And we'll get deeper into that as we go. And so as we get robbed, we just basically lower our vibration. And so are you guys following me?
Yeah.
It's starting to make more sense.
Yeah, I do. I also hear, some of these very dark cults and people that are just pure evil. I'm hearing this thing like they feed off that negative energy in others. So they want to make people unhappy. They want to make people scared. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm starting to hear that to kind of explain why some of these. things are happening.
Yeah. So later, Tracy, remind me that, and I'll go into why. Okay.
Okay.
I'll go into why to make, because this is important. I'm asking everybody who's watching this to please share this, because it's really important that we understand ourselves. And if you think someone would be interested in this, or if you think someone could be, which everyone can benefit, learning about ourselves is what really needs to happen, and understand who and what we really are. And that's the direction we have to go. And so I asked that everyone not only share this video to those that would enjoy this and like this, and they're kind of on that wavelength, but people that you think could benefit from this, which is basically everyone. The objective here today is to give an understanding of Battle of Light and Dark, to give kind of direction and understanding of why we're at where we're at, but also more importantly is for everyone to understand how amazing we are, how incredible we are, and how beautiful we are. And that beauty in that, like, it's been taken from us, but it's still there. It's waiting to happen. It's waiting, and it needs to blossom and flower again and become everybody's life. And because we're all entitled to this magic that's right there in front of us waiting to happen. So let's start with what I sent you guys so that we can give understanding. And then we're going to have, because everybody watching, a lot of this I can talk about all day. But fortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, everybody's got homework. All of you watching, including Tracy, including Shane, I'm about to give you some homework. And it's going to be fun. And you'll get to see and experience for yourself, because a lot of this might be overwhelming. A lot of it's kind of like, whoa, I don't quite understand, or you do understand, but we're going to give you some exercises that you can do yourself, and they're very safe, and you can do them with your kids, and it's super fun. And it's going to be really exciting to experience, and it's infinite, so that you can go more and more and more, and until you get a grasp and have an experience. Because to me, with this work that I do, I know it's different, I know it's unique, but honestly, I don't think it's anything new under the sun. I really
No, this is the original medicine.
It's the original medicine. Speaking, Tracy, original medicine, check this out. This is from 1908 from a pharmacy made by Eli Lilly. This is gel pills. Trying to get them in the camera.
Yeah.
Wow, Eli Lilly from 1908. Yeah, they've made a lot of controversial medications.
Guess what this is? Sandalwood.
Oh.
This is sandalwood. So people, our pharmacy not only was where you got your fragrances and your perfumes, but it's where you got your medicines from. Check this out. This is pharmaceutical grade from the 1920s. This is eugenol, which is pure clove oil. All of our medicines were natural back in the day. And guess where they learned it from? They learned it from us, Native Americans, right? And so here's another one. This is pine oil, pure pine oil from the 1920s. Antiseptic, bactericide, germicide, disinfectant, deodorant. Put 15 drops on a sugar cube and take for medicine.
Wow.
So we used to have natural medicines. And I know, like, through Instagram, social media, that we've all seen those pictures in the 1970s of people that were on the beach, and everyone's got these beautiful bodies, and there's no overweight. And, I don't want to feel like we're making fun of people or anything like that. But the difference then compared to now, like last year alone or the year before, there was 10,000 chemicals introduced into our food system. 10,000 chemicals in 1 year. And so I was in Japan over winter snowboarding, and you go and everyone's got all these healthy diets. In the older, they're not like elderly where they're all just shriveling and bent over. They walk, straight, and they look amazing, and everyone's happy and polite. And then the moment you get off the plane, I'm seeing people like all fragile and walkers and, overweight and things of that nature. And it's not these people's fault. It's what is being allowed in our foods, which your food is your medicine. It's incredible that God blessed us with, you know, an orange, there's citrus, it's vitamin C. That's medicine of its own. That promotes circulation, digestion. It works on the heart. All these vegetables, the vitamins and minerals that you get, it's like all our foods not only feed us, but provide us medicine at the same time. It's incredible. And then God bless us with herbal medicines, which just is a kick higher for medicines if needed. They're that much more powerful. So pretty interesting. And so,
wow, I'm, you know, I used to work for one of those companies, and what a difference. I mean, total opposite of, you know, how they promote and how they treat.
yes. And it should be like, basically we should just be promoting, you know, I've always said, I kind of wanted to speak on this later, but since we're on it, is every time the presidents come in and a new office, you know, and a new administration, they're always like economy, and money this and money that. And, you know, you hear the expression that money's the root of all evil. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not. It's your thoughts. And that negativity accumulates, as we're speaking on today. And money, I know people who have, you know, a lot, they've done well, and I'm super happy for them. And they're very giving, very loving, like Lahaina and so many places that are experiencing these devastational destructions. These wonderful people with money has blessed us, you know, and it's what we really need to focus on is spiritual wealth. Money's just energy. I call it fun tickets. It just to let you go do fun things. You know, you get to travel and go snowboarding, go surfing, go, you know, do whatever you want to do and get away for the weekend. And so, but spiritual wealth is what we really need to make number one. All these corrupt politicians and officials, if they chased spiritual light like they did the evil side of the dollar, imagine how amazing the world would be. It would be incredible, you know? And if spiritual wealth was something that we promoted in the youthful ages, where we did spiritual exercises to constantly raise our vibration and keep negativity away, there would be no racism, there would be no jealousy, there would be none of these negative behavior patterns. There would just be, people would just be happy for no reason. And
they can't have that.
Yeah, if you've ever been in areas like that where they do have spiritual wealth, like they're just buzzing and they're just smiling and happy for no reason. What's on the border of India? Is it Bhutan?
Bhutan in the north. Nepal?
Yeah,
Nepal, so, the Himalayan.
Bhutan, their government goes door to door, knocking on the door, and they ask you, hey, are you happy? If not, what can we do better? Why are you struggling? Why are you not happy? What can be done to make you or this community happier? That's spiritual wealth. Imagine if our government does that. Our government doesn't care. They're like, what can we do to make ourselves happier? And that's pretty simple. They can just print money and, you know, do all these things that's going on to, you know, trillions of dollars missing from the Pentagon. And, you know, that's a whole nother show that we could vomit on, but we'll stay away from that. And so basically our only way out of where the world is currently is through spiritual wealth. It has to happen. If not, what we're experiencing today is nothing in comparison to what will come. I can tell you that negativity will grow stronger and deeper and darker. And so I love everyone. I love the world. I'm so fascinated by the earth and flowers and butterflies and animals and people. Like, it's like, you know, I always say the greatest thing that's ever happened that man has done is a satellite picture of the earth, which shows, hey guys, we're all here together, you know, and somehow this wake up 9-to-5 job, race to die life has happened. And like, why are we racing to die? We should wake up. Like, I was just on another island, and you basically got to check their pulse every 5 minutes to see if they're still alive. They're so laid back, and they live these simple, happy lives, and they don't have much financially, but man, their life wealth is what anybody in the world would give to be there and to have that. And once you're there, and if you had the decision, money and chaos or simple and happy, it's pretty simple to figure out which direction for most.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things I've heard recently that's kind of been circling around. A couple of things that almost everyone can do that's free and very easy is to walk barefoot on the earth, not on concrete, and to get into water, just to be in water. Even watching like a river or the ocean, it does feed your, spiritual side.
Yeah, so I'll explain what actually happens. Okay, science, they all want to say negative ions and all this stuff, and like, I would prefer to say positive. But what actually happens? Okay, look at your body as a shell, and as you take on the negativity from thought, from stress, from improper diet, that clogs. It clogs you is basically what's happening. So look at a glass. If I had a glass like crystal clear, and we packed it with mud, that mud represents the negativity that a person's taken on, from negative emotions to improper diet. Now, if we're grounding, or we're doing spiritual exercises, or we're raising our vibration through herbs and proper diet, imagine water, and we just start pouring it on top of that glass with mud in it. That's water's going to go in, it's going to get muddy and murky, mud's going to start coming out, and eventually in time, guess what happens? That glass is clear. And that's what God wants us, for all of us, is because when all our spiritual body's clear and free of that negative energy, then we become our true selves, our positive selves. And that's how it works. So as you're speaking on, Tracy, grounding, what really happens, instead of all this scientific negative, all this stuff, imagine just like kind of the drain plug. And I know a lot of people can identify if they go out and they camp for the weekend, or they go to the beach for the weekend, they're just like, feel like they're just rested. And what happened is they actually let go of a lot of negativity accumulated. Nature, as I mentioned in the beginning, people who have gone through similar things as me with the fire devastations and things, and in an uncomfortable situation, grounding out through nature will help you release that experience in time. And so the trees, the ground, the water, it's like it starts to dissipate this negativity, and you start to feel lighter. But what happens is, as you let go of this negativity and start basically draining it back into the earth, back into the water, you feel like kind of like tired. And why do you feel tired? When you're grounding and letting go, it's like running the 500-yard dash and getting to the end and being winded. It's just like, whew. Does that make sense? And so that's what grounding really does for us, which is, if you think about it, how God designed the world and us, we were never meant to be in these structures with synthetic carpets and concrete walls, and we were supposed to like have ground underneath us and everything natural, and including the walls, log cabins, teepees and esas and all these different things. And they can be nice, but it constantly means we're grounding constantly, because all the time you got to look at it, we're constantly channeling. All right, your spine is an antenna, and when you're set at a vibration that you have locked in on as your personality, you're constantly channeling this. And then when it gets disrupted, you freeze up, you lock up, and you trap that negativity, whether it's an uncomfortable situation or you get anger. It's like, Tracy, if I think I've explained before, if we get in an argument, I don't piss you off, I don't upset you. You let me get to you, you open yourself up, and you channel that negativity. You made yourself angry. You got upset. I didn't do it to you. You just allowed it. So we need to really start learning about ourselves to be more in control of our thoughts, because your thoughts create your health. You hear that thing, you are what you eat. Look at the human body like a grocery bag. And to me, I've done all these diets. I've worked on thousands of people. Diet is important, but I'm only going to say it's 5 to 10%. If you're lucky, your thoughts are what really make your health and well-being. And where is those thoughts going in the body, in the spiritual body? Because that manifests, if it's negative, health issues. It's like putting a clothespin on an organ, right? And your kidneys aren't working right. If if the stomach not working, the whole body's not working. So negative emotions will be like that mud in that glass. All of a sudden that mud packs that glass, which is your stomach and your spiritual body, and you don't get optimum function out of your stomach to break your foods down right. Then cause and effect, you can create acids, which creates other disruptions, can create gout, can create arthritis, create depression, all this different things. What energy accumulates creates a cause and effect of negativity and health issues is what happens with all that. And so if we were to learn, as I said, spiritual wealth, we can start learning ourselves more, be free of negative health issues and free of negative behavior patterns that don't serve us for our highest good. And so, but, you know, like I said, the other things that lower our vibration, you know, like I said, sugars, like it's smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, you know, if they didn't affect you, I would be smoking weed. If coffee didn't affect you, I would be drinking iced coffee, you know, but they do. And what happens with like tobacco and smoking weed, what that does, if you can imagine an etheric ball, an imaginary ball, but it's not imaginary, it's actually there, it's energetic. It comes down and goes into your stomach. And then you can have the best diet in the world, but it doesn't allow you to break down your foods properly to receive your nutrition. You know, and then I deal with it all the time. I have friends that they smoke a lot and they're like, man, I'm feeling heavier trying to surf. I go, bro, you've got to stop smoking weed, you know? And I've got friends that are younger than me, much younger, and their bodies are falling apart and they smoke weed all day. And I'm like, dude, I told you, you've got to stop. Like, and here I am, I'm almost, you know, I'm in my 50s now and I'm running up the mountains, hunting and surfing and snowboarding. And I feel like I'm 25. And it's because I'm always meditating every morning, because I see the preciousness and the gift of life. It's so magic, especially when you have something like the Lahaina fire and you're in the middle of it. You know, I realized I got another chance to exist when I looked death in the eye that day. And so I just want to make each day magical and keep doing all these things. So in my 70s and 80s, I don't have to be jumping out of helicopters to snowboard. I can like do the bunny slopes and I'm super happy as long as I'm still doing it. You know, if I can go longboarding instead of surfing and getting barreled, I'm super happy. If you put me in a tree and I can go bow hunting and use a lighter pound bow, I'm happy. I just want to be me and do me things, smell perfumes and pick flowers and be me. You know what I mean? And so if you know, they smoke one joint or one cigarette or one coffee or drink one soda or a shot of alcohol, it's not like that one is it. But what happens if it's a daily thing, you start getting robbed and start vibrating lower, and it starts getting more and more, and that negativity and weight and pressure happens to you. But what happens is we acclimate. It's like if I put my finger on your hand and I start squeezing, you're going to be like, oh, it's there, he's squeezing my hand. But if I left it there, in time, you acclimate to it. But then I put more pressure, you know, and we keep going in increments and increments. Finally, you're like, dude, my hand, what's going on? I think something's wrong with me. And that's what happens with our health, is all this negativity accumulates over time. And so if you went from vibrating at your highest self with your health and well-being, spiritual well-being, and you're light and you're happy and joyous, and this negativity happened, that negativity would be like a truck landed on you instantly. And you weigh it, but you acclimate. The mind and the energy that you create is basically clay on the potter's wheel. You mold and you shape that pottery. And so they sit there and they've literally basically molded themselves into that through the amount of worry, through the amount of anxiety, through the amount of like a behavior pattern, through, you know, we've got the planets that make us, we've got the spiritual body that make us, and then we've got, you know, what I call spiritual DNA. And then we have our DNA, which is our parents, why we look like mom and dad or grandma and grandpa. But then we've got in that DNA is behavior patterns, right? And how you react, because mom and dad are our superheroes. And we look at them at how they react to a situation. We do the same. And so that creates the behavior patterns. Like you hear like, this runs in the family, certain cancers and all run in the family. Why does it run in the family? Because of the behavior patterns that they're holding. And so that energy, it's so strong. And if we did spiritual exercises in our youth, we wouldn't be dealing with any of that, you know? And it's like the homeless. Never make judgment on the homeless. You never know what a person's been through, because the weight that negativity, they just can't function. They can't do it anymore. They threw in the towel and dealing with society. And so they just mope around and scrounge around. And it's like, I've seen a guy on Oahu. He was a multi-million-dollar painter, had a huge business, walked in on someone with his wife. Now he's in a cardboard box smoking ice and smoking crystal meth and crack. And it's like that energy that he opened himself up to, of that, basically like a Lahaina disaster in a small form, of seeing someone he loved, you know, commit what happened. And then he took it and opened himself up for that negativity to come in, and it weighed him down and took him to where he is now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's for an addiction.
Pardon?
The trauma kind of allowed for an addiction to take hold.
Yeah. And then the addiction is a whole nother ballgame of energy. All right. So crystal meth, what it does, you see people prematurely age like 20, 30 years and start losing teeth because it's wiry and it robs them. So they start losing teeth. They start looking prematurely aged and all that stuff. So it's all energy. The substance is the doorway, right? The substance is the door, just like your thoughts. And it's either positive or negative. It's that simple. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's get into the exercises, but why don't you guys
show the stuff?
Yeah. So guys, I sent them, that's a frequency, which is what you guys are going to be all learning today. And it's energy. So Tracy's holding a little bottle, and I handmade that. And all that is with plants, you have a few things. You've got the physical part of the plant, which is how God created, where they know to go to the liver, the kidney, the stomach, nutrition. You've got, spiritual plants that they call entheogens. And what they do is they basically bring light in the soul. Now, what you guys just showed, the frequency, is the energy of the plant. It's actual vibration. And every plant has its own vibration. So to give you understanding, let's take an Australian bottle brush. All right. I get the frequency off an Australian bottle brush. What does it do to get that frequency? So let's say we all turn 70 years old. All right. We just turned 70. There's two ways to approach it. You can be like, oh my God, I feel blessed. I made it to this age. I'm 70. I'm 70 years beautiful. Right. Or you can be, woe is me. I'm getting old and, decrepit and blah, blah, blah. Negative. So if I give you the bottle brush, it'll take that energy and flip that thought. Okay. And so these frequencies are incredible, where they basically know where to go and into your spirit body and your thought body. Okay. Your thought body is, it can bring energy into your heart, where if you're holding on to emotions, and a lot of people with sadness, they'll walk with that, or a need for attention. You ever meet people that they're always trying to one up you? Anything you say, they're one up, right? Why are they doing that? Because the negativity in their heart. And all they're really saying is, hey, I need love, I need attention. And so they're trying to get you to accept them, and they one up you all the time. So you've got frequencies that will go in and help break that up and release that, so that they lose that behavior pattern. And it's incredible. There's you look at the amount of plants. I've worked with 11,000 plants or more, actually. That's not even touching what's available here on this beautiful planet that we live. And so all these energies and frequencies and thought forms in these frequencies can help kind of release negativity, so that as you release negativity, you got to look at the human body, our cells. Our cells are like people. They take on food and water. They spin. Okay. So let's say super simple, 100 revolutions per second. That means you're in your light. You're as positive as you can be. You're at your greatest health and everything positive. They're spinning it at 100 revolutions per second, meaning they can take on food, take on water, give off waste. But now we've taken on negativity. And when you take on negativity, it's like crushing them and you can't see it. It's like negativity. It's like why you put an apple in the refrigerator. Okay. Take away cold, just like heat. The negativity of the cold prevents the apple from prematurely aging. But if you put it in the oven, what does it do? It prematurely ages it. So take away the hot and the cold. It's just positive and negative. The negativity has a weight and pressure. That's the cold. And so all of these frequencies, I mean, there's some that can clear your mind. If you've grew up and you were in an abusive relationship, whether it's parents or boyfriend, girlfriend, you can put something up where it's like, I don't want to see him again. And you put up a negativity in your ear. It's like people go deaf because they don't want to hear somebody. And over time, you spiritually project a negativity. And then that negativity prevents when sound comes and bounces through the ear and goes and hits the nerves and you hear sound. It blocks it, like patting on a wall in a band room. If you've ever been in a band room where we play music and the padded walls prevent and hold the music in, right? So that's what it does. And there's stuff that releases. I mean, these frequencies are incredible. So I've given you guys frequencies. I've also given you herbs. And the herbs are a program to basically, what they'll do is raise your vibration. So those herbs are basically a mix to cleanse your blood, to get dirt out of the blood, which raises your vibration. Also, it oxygenates of what I put in there and gives you energy. Basic liver, kidney, stuff like that. So that's just a small sample of a detox, which is cool. And then, and so what you'll do.
Do you want us to mix it?
Yeah. So you'll take a level teaspoon in water and stir it or shake it up. And then you just slam it. Okay. And when it comes to herbs and diet and thought, what you're doing, like I recommend 3 times a day. A maintenance is twice a day. If I'm working with diseases like super heavy cancer or STDs or something with someone, you're taking it 4 to 6 times a day. And the objective is flooding the body, just like life. We can flood our body with positive thoughts. We can flood our body with things that raise our vibration, herbs and quality foods and water and teas and juices, or we can lower our vibration with pharmaceuticals, hard drugs, weed, tobacco, coffee, and slowly rob us and start stripping away and robbing our vibration, which brings in negative thought and negative health issues and things of that nature. If I'm away from it, like I notice such a huge difference, you know? And
so you take this every day?
Oh, 3 times a day, every day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because that's how you get, like, it's like life itself. You're flooding the body. That's where we all need to get in the habit of flooding the body. So that's, like I said, you know, juices, herbs, water, quality foods, whether it's meats, fish, you know, quality, obviously, vegetables and fruit, and thought, and you're raising the vibration. Or you can go the opposite and lower your vibration. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. So this is what we're doing. And then the frequency, you're going to put like 3 to 5 drops under your tongue, the little bottle. And then there should be a little vial. Yeah. We'll go over that again.
Okay. So that's later then. Okay.
No, that's now. That's now.
Oh, so, okay. Which one is,
yeah, do the frequency first on your left hand, and you as well, Tracy. And this so that's just energy.
Now, do you put it in water or under your tongue?
You can put it in water if you want, or under your tongue. It has alcohol base in it. And so the thing that's interesting about these frequencies is you can do 3 drops, 5 drops, or a gallon. It's the same thing. It's energy. So it doesn't matter. And it might take, you could have an epiphany experience very soon, or it might take a couple times and then all of a sudden you basically crack the egg, if that makes sense.
And do this like once a day or?
I would do it 3 times a day.
3 times a day?
Yeah.
It didn't taste like anything.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a flower essence.
Yeah. It's energy. It's what it is. It's what it is. Yeah. And so the next thing is the little vial. Okay, this is a luxury that I wanted to share with you guys, but also give an understanding about it. Okay, that is a fragrance coming out. So I love helping people. I've helped thousands of people. I've worked with, over, like I said, over 11,000 plants, and I'm hardwired to wake up and help people. That's just in my blood. It's in my family history, my lineage. It's me. But my personal passion is fragrances and perfuming and distilling and all that stuff. Like that sandalwood that I showed you. Have you heard of there's two main, I don't know if you want to call them pyramid type business methods for essential doTERRA, Young Living. So
there's like the networking versus the multi-level.
Yeah. So the sandalwood, I was the guy, and my one friend, business partner at that time, we went and built a gas extractor on the Big Island, and we created the equipment to get the oil yield out of the sandalwood, which distributes Hawaiian sandalwood around the world from what we built. But now they're distilling, which is a whole nother topic we could go over. Like distilling is basically boiling in a big vat your material, and then the steam rises and cools, and then oil and water separate. Gas extractor is what I build. Like I do enfleurage, rotovape, I do all these different techniques. And to me, it's just about how to get the highest quality of nuances out of a material for a fragrance. And nuances are just different levels of scent. Okay. And so the gas extractor, what it does is you take specific gases, CO2, R134. They used to do hexane. I don't like hexane because it has a residue. And you pressurize it into a tank with your material. And it's like literally like squeezing a rag, and it pushes the oil out of the material. Then you lock that, pressurize the gas back to the tank it is, and then open up the valve, and you get pure oil. And so you get a lot more nuances that you don't when you distill. Even though distilling is still amazing, you get all these more nuances, more scent with it, and all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So Tracy, so this is what you do when you wear a fragrance, guys. All right. Perfuming I've been doing for more than 35 years. I've been into it since I was really young. There's a whole story with that, but I built and designed equipment. I've been perfuming in the fire. I lost an entire wall of fragrances, vintage. I used to collect vintage from 1890 to 1879. That was my years. And the difference in then versus now is you had all natural with like one or two different things like deer musk. So deer musk pods, since you can't mass produce, they synthesized those, and rose oil is expensive. They synthesized that. So they had a couple. But now when you go to like Sephora's, Macy's, and all that, it's the same it's basically the chemical mafia, the same one we're putting in our food. And all of you, like, you'll notice that all these in the store now, you're paying $100 to $300 for $3 to $10 worth of chemicals and boxes and all that. And it's synthetic as it is, and it has a linear scent because it's just chemicals, right? And they create hormone disruptors and toxicity. Like if I go to Macy's and Sephora's, by the end of the time I'm there, it feels like someone threw a softball at my forehead. Everything closes up, that's your immune system. Your immune system is fighting for you, so it closes up so you don't try and smell it. That's a natural reaction. So all these people walking around the synthetics on, that's also lowering not only their vibration, but your vibration, smelling it. So now let's get into raising our vibration with a real oil. So when you wear a fragrance, what you do is you'll apply your fragrance, and you start where your ear is, and you have your wrist, you start down here instead of up here, and you come down, and usually after a hot shower because your pores are open, and then you twist and push back upward. And what that does is it comes down and applies, and then it gets trapped in the pores, and throughout the day it starts releasing. And so this fragrance is an $800 fragrance, not just that bottle, but it's coming out, and it's amazing. And not all my fragrances are going to be that much, but it's in a handmade wooden bottle. The materials just alone is at least $300 for me just to make that one bottle. And so, and this fragrance tells a story. So when you do a natural fragrance, you have what I call let off. Others call it the dry down. Your body at 98.6, you're basically a distiller. You're distilling off. So what's going to happen is, like, I play guitar, I play music. Literally, it's no different from making a perfume. Okay. You can play a guitar and have these chords and singular chords and they work. And then you have, what is it an accord? You have notes. Okay. So one note like a C, and then you have an accords where it's put together to make a note. And then you have a song. And a perfume and a fragrance is the same thing. Certain things get along, certain things don't. So you finally make a music and story. And so the term music, the word music, never existed like back during Beethoven. It was called a movement. It was called a movement, and which mean it's taking you places. And so you'll notice this fragrance that you're wearing, the concentration of that is pure oils. Okay. So it's basically that one little drop that you're using. See, I guess the smile on your face and your eyes look brighter. Shane. You notice that?
I notice a lot of stuff.
No, it makes me feel like it reminds me of Hawaii. I'm not sure if it's
so. And I wanted to get your opinion on it, Tracy, because it's in the fragrance industry. There's no such thing as male fragrance versus female fragrance. It's masculine and feminine. So I love wearing roses. I lost a black Sparta rose that was extinct in the fire. One little bottle was worth a lot of money. I had 2 hoods from Java. They're extinct, you know, and so it's crazy. But when you apply it, you know, it's constantly releasing, and it's working on your immune system, which is incredible. It's like basically walking around drinking tea all day and raising your vibration. So imagine if everybody walked around smelling godly. And I look at it like, what else can you give God? God made everything. So the best thing that we can do is make these oils and release them in incense for God to basically enjoy his own creations. That's all we can give, other than love one another. To me, that's all that we can give back to God. And it's amazing. And so you'll see what happens with this fragrance. It's called kahu. Kahu in Hawaiian is like a teacher. It's more like someone that influences. And it came about, I had it in my head for a year. And then I created it. And I created like 10 or 20 different little offshoots. And I let everybody smell these different ones. And they all went to this exact one. It's incredible, this one. And so how it's kind of earthy, what it does is it tells the story of the kahu, because I have so many influential friends in my life. I mean, I work with pro surfers and athletes and world title people, and, you know, everyone's amazing to me. And so, but there's certain people that are just gifted, and they found that gift and they're running with it. Not only are they running with it, but they're inspiring others to come out with your gift, right? And so the story that this fragrance creates, like I said, a song, it'll be really earthy. So what that signifies is when you're born and you're being programmed and you're taught all this stuff, materialism, and what we're told we're supposed to do. Okay. That's got the earthy scent in the beginning. Then after, you'll start smelling this kind of rosy magnolia. And that's when he finds his heart space. After that, it's going to glow. And that's when he finds his mana and his energy and who he really is. And you're going to see the transition as it goes. So
yeah, I'm starting to smell the floral. It was like earthy and woody at first. Now it's kind of floral.
Yeah. So imagine if everyone went around. So back in the day, like if you look at the hieroglyphics, you'll see these beautiful women and they have these cones on their head, and it was called unguid or ungulad. And they were like basically saturated. It's like animal fats from ungulad. Ungulate was the word ungulate is basically like a hooved animal. So it was the fats off an animal saturated in flowers, which absorb the oils, and they wore them on top, and their body heat would emit the scent everywhere. And they were distilling back in the time of Egypt. Like there is a 5,000-year-old perfumery on the island of Cyprus, and they were basically like sending it to the pharaohs in Egypt, which is incredible. So scent used to be a big part of everyone's world, especially in the old world. And then it traveled its way France likes to claim, but France was actually the last to get on board with fragrance. They basically wore it, excuse anyone who's French, but like to hide their stink. Okay.
Right.
Royalty only bathed like once a month. And so like Napoleon he ordered or received 50 bottles of rosemary a month. He was infatuated with the rosemary. But if you look at where the Egyptians, the pharaohs, I actually lost. It was given to me. It was worn by a pharaoh. I had pure Egyptian blue lotus lost in the fire. I'll never find that again in that age and quality.
Lotus.
What it is, if you can imagine walking around and you've just got this scent, it's constantly lifting your spirits, raising your vibration. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I heard the blue lotus was actually psychedelic. It allowed them to see the spiritual world too.
Yeah, and so like I said before, we weren't living on Pop-Tarts and Budweiser, we had higher vibratory life. So everyone's third eye was way more open. Everyone's sixth, seventh, eighth sense were more tuned and clairvoyance, and all that was norm back in the day. Like I said, every single culture on the planet had demigods. Demigods were visible back in the day. Even the Caucasian races, most people think like, Hawaiians, they had all these gods, demigods, and Native Americans and stuff like that. But every race, even the Vikings, all of them. And then slowly, as we started introducing chemicals into our food and negative thoughts, it lowered our vibration and is taking that from us. Yeah. And so I just think, imagine a world, like I was talking with my buddy the other day. He sent me a picture. He was holding up a glass of watermelon and coconut watermelon juice that he made. And I'm like, what is going on? Like these hillsides everywhere should be just loaded with fruits and vegetables. So imagine if that was our norm and everyone walked around smelling amazing. And we had like, meditations in first period class of first grade before we even started our school. Like we would have, and then built our buildings where it harnessed natural energy and electricity and everything else out of the atmosphere. Like there's this magical life waiting to happen. It's right there in front of us. It's in grasping reach. But there's a few select that are terrified to not have more and more and more. Okay. So now we're getting to the battle of light and dark. Okay. So now I see the smile on Shane's face. You've changed since you take the herbs and stuff and the smell. It smells amazing, doesn't it?
Not only does it smell amazing, but like the vibratory aspects of it are obvious to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also the frequency and also the herbs. So in combination, like you have this, your cheeks just went up and they're like, I can see a natural difference in you. Right?
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I feel a little like a little buzz on the side of my face.
Yeah. And that's just energy. I'm raising your vibration and you release. So before we go into the battle of light and dark, let's go into what to expect as you're doing things. Let's say you wanted to cleanse, you wanted to raise your vibration. Okay. What happens when you do this? When you're doing a program, you're doing a cleanse and all these type things, and even wearing amazing fragrances. Like I've had people come in and wear these fragrances and you watch them just get chicken skin and change instantly. It changes your mood when you wear these naturals. It's incredible. Like all of you watching, I would rather you wear lavender or peppermint than this BS that you can get in the stores that's being obnoxious to everyone that you're around. Like wear some.
Yeah, not only that, I'm actually allergic to the wood grain alcohol that they add to most of the scents, from the main, big stores.
Oh, wow. They, when they should be using an SD40 is what they should be using. But Tracy, I'm glad that you like it because like I said earlier, fragrances are said, we don't have male and female, it's just masculine and feminine. And I consider this more masculine. And it's crazy how many women are diving on this fragrance as well. I was really shocked. I thought it'd be lower, they'd like it on their man, but all the women are liking it on themselves. And I'm just
I prefer warmer, earthy scents in general.
Yeah. I was not expecting that when I created it because I will be doing female scents. And please know, like this fragrance, it is expensive, one, because of the type of material in it. Like I've held pieces of oud, which is an aguilera, which in the Bible is known as aloes wood, right? I've held pieces that were $2.9 million. It is crazy. Like the Middle East is so for their fragrances. Like they have buyers, like at the level I'm at with fragrances, like a Saudi guy that's like, you know, a gas tycoon or oil tycoon from the Saudi Arabia and all that would hire someone like me and just be like, here's $500,000 I want. And I would go buy fragrance for them because of my knowledge. There's that, they take it that serious, you know? And I wish that we all kind of took it that serious to raise our vibration. And it's even amazing, like in Somalia, families wear fragrances that is handed down, the formula, like hundreds of years. And it's if I smell that, I know that you're around me in that family, which is incredible. And it's all natural, you know? And it's just basically that they understand that that's part of us and raising our vibration. And so, yeah. So should we get into the battle of light and dark? Well, but first of all, we'll go more into details. Okay. So now you guys are understanding energy more. All right. You've got to look at it like this. This will help us understand. I would compare us, so to make it simple, is we're all like a banana. Okay. The peel is our physical body. The banana is the spirit. All right. What happens when negativity comes into the spirit body? Negativity pushes you out is what happens. It literally pushes you out. It's like pressure. The more the negative pressure, the more out you are out of your body. And that's what's going on. Everyone's just out of their body whack right now. So when you're smoking a joint or drinking alcohol or pharmaceuticals or definitely negative thoughts, what'll happen is that will push you out. That pressure pushes you out. And you can also look at, and your objective is to be one whole banana, skin and peel and banana all, right? And I tell people, you have to look at yourselves like a hotel, okay? And this might sound off to some people, but it's the truth of the matter from my work and experience. And I don't think it's anything under the sun new. And it's what they were trying to tell us in the scriptures and in the Bible. Your body's like a hotel. And as you start to, not you guys or people watching, but the people that are doing these negative things, what happens is you open yourself up, as I've spoke before, and negativity comes in. And as a certain negativity comes in, and lots of it, what really happens is you get so pushed out of your body, you actually invite, you could say entities, bad spirits, whatever you call it, whatever you want to identify with it. And then they take over the driver's seat. All right. Then the level that happens is, let's take a mass murderer. Let's take a corrupt politician. They do the bad deed, right? Then they open themselves up for more negativity, more darkness, okay? Those entities within that they've taken on need food to exist. You're their host now, okay? So what do they eat? They don't live on juices and salads and pizza and cereal. They live on what?
Negativity.
They live on energy. So they drive you to the next episode and they make you do this and make you do that to feed the negativity, right? And it's just like in the Bible. I don't know, like, I'm not religious, but if you, and people ask me, all the time, and I'm like, this day and age, it's like, to me, to be Christian is to be Christ-like, which is so hard because we got so many pollutants in our sky, our air, our food, our water. And I try my best to be, a good person. And I actually have a story. I mean, I could share later that Christ did come and save me, like got me out of a situation and like saw him and pulled me out of it. And it was in relation to my work I took on so much darkness that I literally saw in black and white from the people that I worked on. And it was crazy. I thought I basically died and he came and got me. It was amazing. And just to let me know that I was there. So, but energetically, and on that note, in Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, Christ speaks on one thing. And what is that? Light. He speaks on spiritual light. And what he's talking about is positive energy, positive thought. is what he's trying to tell us. He taught spirituality is what he taught. And when you have light through things that you just did, the herbs, the frequency, the fragrances, your foods, your positive thoughts, water, you gather light, right? The opposite is gathering negativity, gathering darkness. Okay. So as I was saying, underneath this negativity of these mass murderers, these corrupt politicians, is a beautiful being of light waiting to happen. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And all the negativity, a bank robber, they took on enough negativity to make them go in a direction they know they shouldn't have done it, but then they did it. But then they opened themselves up. Like in the scriptures where Christ, do you remember when Christ cast out demons in the pig and they went and drowned in the lake? He cast them into the pig and then the pigs went and drowned into the lake. It's the same thing. Like I said, I'm not teaching anything new under the sun. It's all energy is what I'm speaking about today, the battle of light and dark. So now let's get to where we are. Okay. We're seeing floods. We're seeing fires, tornadoes. We've got all this crazy technology and you've got all this darkness happening to all this good people that basically, the way I see it, taxpayers' dollars have paid for this to happen to us. And we've got a club of people that have vibrated together through taking on negativity in their heart. When you take on negativity in your heart, what happens? You seek love. That's what God put us here. Everyone, you know, you can say that we come here to have a family and be successful, all these things, but what your real objective here, everybody that's watching, your whole objective is to get closer to God. How do you get closer to God? Is the planets do all this crazy stuff, and through a family, through a successful business, you get trials and tribulations thrown at you. And guess what? It keeps getting thrown in your face until you stop reacting and you stop taking it so serious. Then you open yourself up for light to come into your soul rather than getting angry or frustrated or all these other emotions and inviting negativity. And so as you gather light, the more light you gather, the closer to God you get. And that's what all of these ancient civilizations strived for. Okay. So, but now we've got these people that through their life have accumulated negativity and they're all starving for attention. And somehow they've gathered together, just like we're in school and we've got the jocks and the preppies and the nerds and the punks and all these different people and energies is what you could say, different types of people. We've got this group that is gathered and they're all starving for attention is what's really happening. Why? Because of the battle of light and dark, because of the negativity that they have accumulated over time and are not aware of, that they're all pushed out of their body. They've got someone else in an entity in the driver's seat, and they're all doing this thing to fight for attention. Look at me, look how much I have, and more and more and more. You've got all these billionaires that like are doing these things, and you look at the energy of things. Like, let's look at Bill Gates. All right, I'm not picking on him. He's gray. He doesn't look healthy, and he's promoting health with vaccinations. Okay, mm-hmm. That negativity has made him go the direction he has. Okay, I'm not being political here. Let's look at Trump. Every time you see Trump, he's all hunched over. Why is he hunched over? Because he's protecting his heart, because he's got emotions and energy and issues in there. And like I said, I'm not picking on him. I'm just pointing out for people to start seeing what energy does to us. It's clay on the potter's wheel. It molds us into this. So all these people gathering that have these ideas, like you guys have made everybody aware, the UN, the World Economic Forum, it's like this group club found each other that are all at the same vibration of negativity, and they think they know what's best for all of us, and they don't. But they're creating this evil to happen because they're just starving for attention. But then what happens is they do it. They do the act. They're part of what happened, whether it's a fire, a wildfire, whether it's floods and whatever chaos they've created. And they think they're rewarding this love that they need, but they're not. They're just feeding the negativity. and the darkness. And then they want more and more and more because they're never going to get to the end of it. One thing that you can never have enough of in this life, most people think money or things or friends, is light, spiritual light. You can never have enough of it. Nobody. And that's the direction. That's our only way out of this is spiritual light, and to raise our vibration. And spiritual wealth is how we're all going to come together and live harmoniously here in this magical place. You know, I look at this earth. I've traveled the world. I've been blessed, and I'm fascinated by the flowers and the mountains and the tree and people and animals and butterflies and birds. It's incredible. And so if you look at how God designed this earth, we're actually being healed all the time. We've got green, lush mountains or white snow or blue skies. It's actually like you guys just took those frequencies. We constantly have vibrations and frequencies that we're engulfed in all day long. It's amazing. And bird chirps is a frequency. I mean, there's so much that got waves crashing on the shore, that sound, that energy. We got put in basically a healing terrarium. It's incredible. And so now everybody has homework. Tracy and Shane just got a little taste sample of raising your vibration, but Tracy and Shane, we got some fun things to do, and everybody watching. So what you're going to be doing is learning frequency, because like I said, I can talk about this all day, but to experience it is a different ballgame, so that you can really relate to it, so that this is worth sharing to as many people as you can, this video. So to understand vibration, here's everybody's homework, and you can do this with your kids, is there's a couple things we can do. You can get empty jars. It could be a pickle jar, baby food jar, whatever kind of jar you get your hands on. And if you've got paint laying around, paint it whatever magic color you want. It can be orange. It can be yellow. It can be pink, blue. And remember, like blue and pink and all these different colors, green and white and clear. There can be 50 million color shades of blue and all that. So there's no right or wrong, but you want different ones. And then what you're going to do, you're going to fill those up with water, and you're going to put them in the sun for 3 hours. And what that's doing is that energy is going into the water. You can also, if any of you have your favorite crystals, if you guys like amethyst and quartz and, you know, tiger's eye, onyx, whatever, there's 50 million, turquoise, malachite, you can do that. And then what you'll do is you'll take a sip and feel it. There's going to be energy that's going to change. And a lot of you could be subtle, but others might have this crazy, like profound experience of like, so many things can happen. You can feel like you're spinning left to right or right to left. That's your actual female and male body balancing. Okay. You could feel like you're getting taller because the negativity feels like you're crushing. A lot of times when I work with people say, man, I feel like I'm taller, but they're not, because the energy is making them, they're releasing the negativity. So they feel taller. You could feel like something jumped off your eyes. You could feel your heart expand and you want to giggle for no reason. I'm not going to tell you. I look forward to hearing everybody's response in the messages. And but please know I'm going to be leaving and going into my Zen mode for a few weeks, where I'm actually in nature and unplugging, just because I need it really bad. I'm burning the candle, working and starting a new life, and it's a lot. And so, but you can even like use your gold necklace or a silver necklace. They're all frequency. Everything is energy. And so then you'll drink these and feel that energy. What's even fun is I had a jar. It was probably 25, 30 years old. I had a big jar. It was painted white, and I drew like a person, and I had the spiritual body and the spiritual centers, all these different colors. And I laced it with gold paint and silver paint. And I put that in the water, and man, I would make it, and people that visited me in my shop, I'd hand them a glass of water and they drink it, and you'd watch them just be like, dude, what did you give me? I was like, oh, it's just water. And I didn't tell them what it was. It was frequency water. And it's amazing what it can do for all of you. So I really hope that you guys participate in your homework and Just see for yourself so you can understand energy more. The more we all understand energy, the more we understand the battle of light and dark, where we have to go. All right. Our only way out of this chaos and this darkness. Here's something else for everyone. And this is the last part. So Tracy, even though you're wonderful, beautiful female, and Shane, we're both males, we're actually both male and female energetically. All right. So meaning there's a positive side and a negative side. So you have to look at the human body like a battery. All right. So everybody watching and you guys, we're going to do Mr. Miyagi and clap your hands and you want to rub them and you want to take, and what you're trying to do is feel, you're going to feel like it's like a magnetized energy. Okay. And once you feel it, guys, you just hold it there. Okay. So imagine that's like prayer. That's actually what prayer is releasing. So what happens when you do this? And so everybody watching, when you do this, watch television and do this. You can set it in your lap if you want, and it'll start unwinding negativity from you and start releasing that you've accumulated during the day. You know, like when somebody is on the floor and you're watching TV and then they start falling asleep and they start kicking or whatever. That's them actually releasing negativity, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you do this, you'll see, and this subject and what I'm speaking on can go so much more deeper. This is the same thing that they were doing in the Bible with hands-on healing, stuff we're doing today with spiritual work. But let's just give a little starter course for people to understand energy more in themselves. And so I promise that if you do this, what can happen is you feel tired and fatigued. So it's just like letting go of energy, right? And so that's just another way of understanding energy. And then, so yeah, I guess there's kind of today, and I hope everyone understands how amazing and beautiful they are and the battle of light and dark. If, you know, I'm still kind of going through it. I'm not one to ask, but if you want to donate to my world, it's a lot. I've trying to get some kind of medicine lab going. I've got a list of people calling, trying to get my help. And I'm like, my hands are tied. I probably have 80 different herbs started, so I can almost get there and start working on people. And so if any of you felt like you learned how beautiful and magical you are today and want to bless me and donate, I'm not one to ask, but my Venmo is under my name. First name is Spice and my last name is Prince. There's also my GoFundMe, which is under Island Spice Hawaii.
Yeah, we'll put that in the description. Is it the same as your previous?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put that in the description here.
Yeah, and also everyone, I want you to know, like, even money for gas. There's a project going on. I can't really talk much on it, but it revolves around kind of today, and the subject matter is the world needs God. Is basically the direction it's going. And if you want to be a part of that and contribute, that would be so helpful. And very grateful to working on that project. It's a beautiful project, and I can't really speak much on it, but let's say the day will come and God shines light, you know? Yeah. And so next time, you know, you guys got to understand, at least Tracy and Shane, the herbs and raising your vibration through those. So I think around November, we'll try and shoot for a show, and it'll be live where everyone can, you know, ask questions, and, you know, I'm happy to share whatever information and whether it's spiritual or knowledge on herbs, if you've got health issues, anything. We have to look at ourselves at, like, you know, there's one family, so there's no shame if you've got a disease and embarrassed by or a condition. It's okay. I've worked with everything, and sometimes even talking about it or asking about it is just part of the step forward for healing, you know. And so, yeah. But it'll be a really good show, and I look forward to that. And hopefully by then I'll have a couple products available, and, you know, I can get people started with programs that are hitting me up, and I'll send you guys some so that you guys can experience that. And yeah, I hope everyone.
And then I'll have some experience with these products.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just a little sample of what I do. I do a lot more. So just now, you guys, Shane's still glowing, and Tracy looked great, and it's like, it's just a small.
I really needed some help with this, because, you know, the work I do is so heavy. The topics, you know, really can cause me to feel like physically unwell
Yeah,
sometimes. So I do
we're
need
all
something to kind of help with that.
totally. We're all empathic. We take energy on, whether you're on the phone or intermingling with people, and healing is not when you're sick. Healing is continual. It's daily, and you're always constantly in the race to raise your vibration rather than the ham and egg or 9-to-5 job race to die. It's like you're the continual thing of just constantly working on yourself for your sanity, basically, this day and age, and so having these different type of things to help you raise your vibration. You'll note it, like when I work on people, the biggest thing that comes out, other than feeling lighter and brighter and radiant, is they don't react to things. They don't stress as much. They're not like these things that got them all ruffled up and freaked out about things. They're like, whatever. They're not attached as much to things, and so it's really good that the more we higher vibrate, like I said, the closer to God we get, and we get into our higher personality traits and vibration and frequencies, that is all waiting for us, and we got to do this together. It's not like me, you, and Shane are the only ones. It's like, it's going to take all of us around the world and understanding.
Yeah. I also hear that this, the change that we make in our own, vibration, it does contribute to like the greater consciousness of our planet. It doesn't just stay self-contained within us. It does affect everything.
100%. You were spot on, and
so if we could all raise our frequency, it could, have an effect on overall what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, and exactly on that note, it's like Native Americans, how we have a relationship with, the beaver, the woodpecker, the wolf, like, because they have an energy that we actually learn from, and we contribute into our lives and our livelihood and how we carry ourselves, and it's the same exact thing, like you're saying, that it's your energy, your vibration can spread and help people when they didn't even know they need it, and that is the objective. That's, like I keep saying, that is our only direction that we have to go. We have to go. And that's like, imagine the White House, where our president meditates in the morning and he's covered and drenched in these beautiful oils. Mm-hmm. And, the way I see it is, I look at this administrations that we've had, and us as common people, we should have to wear sunglasses around these people and these politicians. They should be so filled with light that we need sunglasses, that they shine so bright, and their messages for what's needed for us, the people, should come from God. And instead, I feel like we need to shine these giant nighttime construction lights into the White House because of all the darkness and negativity. It's time for change. And I can tell you this right now, all these people doing these dark deeds to get more and more and more, if they found their light, they would cry in shame for the next 10 lifetimes at what they've done. And they would be so more self-rewarded for doing wonderful things and not even making a penny of doing good things for all of us and making sure we're all taken care of. They would have so much more reward than all the money in the world if they were filled with light. Because then they'd be filled with love and understanding of humanity and what they need to do for their people. And that's why we elected them in the first place.
That's how things used to be many, many thousands of years ago.
Yes.
The pharaohs were channeling Ra, the sun, right? The sun god is how they were getting their messages, from what I heard. Now it's that connection between, humans and the universe. It's like it's been cut off.
Just like I've been saying forever, the future is in the past. And so with building, with lifestyle, with everything, that's our way out of this. I feel like it's coming, it's trying, it's poking through, it's trying so hard, but then it's the battle right now.
Yeah. Well, things need to turn around, or things are going to get so much worse.
Yeah, I feel it will. I've seen the change from when I was young and like I was, doing medicines and stuff. It was like witch doctor and all this stuff, to now everybody's like, a massage therapist. Everybody's a nutritionist. So it's making headway. It's breaking through. I feel it's going to happen. It's not an easy ride. It's not tomorrow, but it's in increments in time, and it's happening.
Yeah.
And so even Hopi prophecy and all that type thing, you know, so, but yeah, thank you guys. I love you and everybody watching.
Well, thank you for spending this time with us, Spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
And then we'll set something up when you're back.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All your information will be in the description, and your first video as well. You got a huge reaction to the first one. So if anyone wants to hear, you know, how Spice and us connected, and you know what he experienced that awful day, just watch that video. So
yeah, Shane can post another video that will maybe show more detail of a video I did a long time ago called Everything is Energy, and Shane can post that as well. And
I'll put those in the description. Yeah,
and so you can watch that and get more of an idea of the colored jars and crystal, you know, for making frequencies is what it's about. So it's unique, and give you some insight. And I look forward to hearing people's experiences.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that is watching. And I guess we will see you all soon.
Yeah. Lots of love, guys. Mahalo nui. Thanks for having me.